A man named Clay, who was once a member of a secret special forces unit called the Beehive, had left that life behind. This covert group used to work for the US government on highly classified cases that even regular departments had no knowledge of. After leaving Beehive, Clay started living a normal life as a beekeeper. He rented a garage from an old lady named Mrs. Parker and began harvesting honey from his bees there. Mrs. Parker was a retired schoolteacher who lived alone and now worked with a charity organization that helped women and children in need. She was happy to rent out her garage to Clay because he was a kind-hearted man. One evening, after a day's work, Mrs. Parker invited Clay over for dinner. Later, while working on her laptop, she suddenly received a virus notification claiming her hard drive was infected. A phone number was displayed on the screen, suggesting she call to prevent data loss. Without wasting time, Mrs. Parker called the number, not realizing it was connected directly to a cybercriminal gang. These criminals posed as an antivirus company and scammed innocent people by draining their bank accounts. As soon as she made the call, the hackers gained access to her computer and could now see all her bank details. Unaware of how viruses and data loss worked, she contacted a representative named Carney for help. Carney explained that what she was seeing was all part of the antivirus removal process. Then, he asked Mrs. Parker for her banking details, and she, innocently, provided them. Carney then sent her $0 on behalf of the company. Shocked at this bizarre transaction, Mrs. Parker was told it was a mistake and he was supposed to send $500 instead. He then asked her to return the remaining money. Trusting him, she entered her password and sent the money back, but the moment she did, her entire bank account was wiped clean. Carney and his team had succeeded. Mrs. Parker lost not only her personal savings, but also all the funds of her charity organization. She was devastated and didn't know what to do. Meanwhile, Clay was packaging honey in a glass jar as a gift for Mrs. Parker. But when he arrived at her home for dinner that night, he sensed something was wrong. He cautiously picked up a knife from the kitchen and entered the living room, only to be greeted by a horrifying sight. Mrs. Parker was dead, and a gun lay on the floor beside her chair. Just then, an FBI agent named Verona entered and pointed a gun at Clay, shouting, "Hands up!" Verona suspected Clay of being involved in Mrs. Parker's death, and the biggest twist was that Mrs. Parker was Verona's mother. She immediately called the police, and the house was thoroughly investigated. Clay was taken in for questioning. Despite her grief, Verona was determined to uncover the truth behind her mother's death. During her own inspection of the house, she discovered that all of her mother's bank accounts had been emptied. She realized that her mother had fallen prey to a cyber scam. It became clear that Mrs. Parker's death wasn't a murder. She had taken her own life, unable to cope with losing all her money and that of the charity. Eventually, the police released Clay, and the next day, Verona visited him. She apologized for blaming him and explained about the cybercriminal gang posing as an antivirus company. She said the gang had been eluding the FBI for years and hadn't left a trace. Upon hearing this, Clay contacted Beehive and tasked them with tracking down this gang. He was determined to get justice for Mrs. Parker. The beekeepers quickly got to work, gathering information and investigating the gang. Soon, they uncovered data about Carney's fraudulent company and passed it on to Clay. Shortly afterward, we see Clay arrive at the headquarters of the company, UDG, carrying 2 gasoline cans. He skillfully dealt with the security guards and made his way to the control room. There, he interrogated a few employees and began brutally beating one of them. Punch after punch after punch, he made it clear that if anyone dared to scam another innocent person like Mrs. Parker again, there would be severe consequences. He ordered everyone to leave the room, doused the computers in gasoline, and just then, Carney and his thugs arrived to attack Clay. But Clay easily overpowered them. He then planted a bomb in the office and warned Carney to flee if he wanted to live. Moments later, a phone rang, and then boom. A massive explosion reduced the entire UDG headquarters to rubble. Carney quickly informed his boss, Danforth, about the attack and how a man named Beekeeper had taken down their guards and blown up the entire building. Enraged, Danforth ordered Carney to hire men and eliminate Clay. On the other side, when Verona heard about the explosion at UDG, she felt a slight sense of satisfaction. The next day, as Clay was working at his beef farm, Carney and his men found his location. As soon as Clay left the farm, they trashed all the beehives. They then chased after him, but Clay already knew their plans and was fully prepared. When they stormed into his home, Clay fought back fiercely, killing all the goons. He deliberately spared Carney but cut off his fingers and left him alive. Carney fled in terror. Meanwhile, Verona was interrogating someone from UDG when she learned about a fire at her mother's house. She rushed over and found that Clay's garage had been burned to ashes. Among the bodies, the FBI found a UDG employee ID card. Realizing what had happened, Verona understood that Clay was behind the UDG incident. On the other side, Carney, now missing fingers, informed Danforth that he had failed to kill Clay. Enraged, Danforth now fully understood that Clay wasn't just any ordinary man. Just then, Clay suddenly appeared in front of Carney and attacked him. He tied him with a belt to the bumper of his car and drove it straight into the water, drowning him. While Danforth was still on the phone, Clay picked up Carney's phone and warned him, "Get ready. I'm coming for you." Meanwhile, Verona and her partner Matt were trying to find out Clay's real identity through the U.S. government databases, but even after extensive efforts, they found nothing. Then Verona did the math and figured that maybe Clay had been part of some secret government organization where he received special training. Perhaps an organization so covert that even the FBI had no knowledge of it. Not long after, Verona received the news that the UDG manager, Carney, was found dead, his body tied to Clay's car and dumped in the water. Meanwhile, Danforth met a man named Wallace, who was formerly a CIA member. In fact, Danforth's mother, Jessica, had recently become the new president of the United States, and Wallace was protecting Danforth on her orders. When Wallace learned that a man named Beekeeper was after Danforth, he sprang into action. He called CIA Director Janet and tasked her with finding out everything about Clay. Janet informed him that Clay had already retired from the Beekeepers group. At that point, Wallace ordered Janet to kill Clay. Following this, Janet contacted the Beekeepers group and assigned a girl named Anna the mission of eliminating Clay. Later, when Clay was refueling at a gas station, Anna suddenly appeared and opened fire on him. But Clay fought back fiercely. Eventually, he chopped off Anna's fingers and burned her alive, which caused a massive explosion at the gas station. Fearing more officer casualties, the Beekeepers sent a message to the CIA that they would no longer be pursuing Clay. Janet passed this message on to Wallace, which meant that both the CIA and Beekeepers were now backing off from Clay's case. Hearing this, Wallace had no other choice, so he decided to take matters into his own hands. He formed a special forces team and briefed them about the Beekeepers organization. He claimed that Clay was a rogue agent whose actions posed a serious threat to public safety, and that he must be eliminated at any cost. The next day, Verona and Matt arrived at the destroyed gas station and found Anna's burnt body. It seemed like she had also been part of some secret government organization, but Verona still didn't know why she was trying to kill Clay. On the other side, Clay used Anna's severed fingers to unlock her house and hacked into her computer. Then he tracked Carney's phone signal and soon discovered Danforth's location. After that, he gathered several weapons and bombs from Anna's house and set off on his mission. Meanwhile, Wallace's special forces team had already reached Danforth's building with the intent to kill Clay. A SWAT team was stationed outside the building because they expected Clay would definitely come to attack. But Wallace and his special forces kept all the workers inside the building, pretending like everything was normal. Inside the building, a company called NSU was operating. A company just like UDG, which stole money from ordinary people. Soon, Clay arrived outside the building and without wasting time, launched a fierce attack on the SWAT team. He was such a formidable fighter that none of the SWAT members could stand against him. Eventually, he made his way inside the building and easily blended in with the workers. However, one special forces member recognized him and attacked. Soon, all the officers found Clay and opened fire on him. But using his skills, Clay killed them all one by one. He then confronted NSU's manager Rico, pressuring him to reveal who owned the company. Rico, extremely nervous, admitted that the owner was someone very powerful, someone even the law couldn't touch. But Clay responded that no one is powerful enough to stand against him. He declared that he would not spare those who committed such heinous crimes against innocent people. Finally, to save his own life, Rico gave up the owner's name and address. Just then, Verona and her team arrived and pointed their weapons at Clay, but even this time, Clay managed to escape. Soon, Verona and Matt learned that companies like UDG and NSU, which stole from common people, were actually owned by the US president's son, Danforth. Verona then realized that not only was Danforth in danger because of Clay, but so was President Jessica. As soon as this news broke, Deputy Director Prigg assigned Verona and Matt the task of capturing Clay, and the SWAT team increased security for the president and her family. The next day, Verona and Matt, along with security service agents, reached the president's beachside bungalow where she and her son were hosting a charity program. Despite the presence of FBI and Secret Service agents, Wallace remained worried about Danforth's safety. So he called in a team of elite fighters, led by a man named Lazarus. Lazarus explained that he had previously killed a beekeeper agent and lost a leg in that battle. Meanwhile, Clay easily infiltrated Danforth's bungalow by hiding under a truck through a drainage tunnel. He soon killed a SWAT officer, rigged all the cars with bombs, and changed his appearance, blending in seamlessly with the charity crowd. Meanwhile, Prigg informed President Jessica that her son Danforth was the owner of the companies defrauding the public. Jessica was shocked. She realized that her entire campaign was funded through illegal means. Infuriated by the revelation, she was overcome with rage. Just then, Verona spotted Clay in the crowd and ordered the SWAT team to capture him. Soon, the SWAT team surrounded Clay at gunpoint, and he surrendered by falling to his knees. But in truth, this was also part of his plan. At that very moment, he detonated the explosives in all the agents' trucks and launched a surprise attack, pushing forward to eliminate Danforth. Back in her office, President Jessica decided to expose Danforth's dark secrets to the world so the innocent could receive justice. Meanwhile, Clay stormed into the building, brutally defeating secret agents and Wallace's thugs. Eventually, he reached the presidential hall, where he had a fierce fight with Lazarus. But Clay won again and moved towards the president's room. Suddenly, Wallace appeared, trying to stop Clay from killing Dunforth. But Clay ignored him and instead broke his fingers. This guy sure has a thing for breaking fingers. In the president's office, Dunforth was already panicking because his mother was about to reveal his crimes to the world. Overwhelmed, he pulled out a gun and shot Prig. At that moment, Clay blasted open the door with a bomb and entered. Verona and the other FBI agents followed in, guns drawn. Terrified, Dunforth took the ultimate step. He held his own mother hostage. What kind of son does that? Verona pleaded with Clay not to harm Jessica or Dunforth. But Dunforth, desperate to save himself, was ready to kill his own mother. In this tense moment, Clay asked Verona, "What's more important to you, law or justice for innocent people?" Without hesitation, he shot Dunforth, saving Jessica's life. Then he smashed a window and made his escape. Verona had a chance to shoot Clay through that window, but chose not to. The truth was, she valued justice for innocent people, even above the law. Finally, Clay's mission was complete. He put on a scuba gear set he had hidden earlier at the beach and jumped into the sea to escape. And with that, the story comes to an end. So, how did you like this video? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.